WX's rework is officially out, and we've got the animated short to go alongside it. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it first so you can better understand what's going on. If we take a look at WX's Compendium, we get the following. WX-78 was a result of an unorthodox experiment helmed by Load Empathy Mod Library XW, or Data Path Not Found, and Robert Wagstaff. The experiment turned out to be a resounding success, but Wagstaff was a short-sighted fool, afraid of progress, and decided to put a stop to further tests. Adamant that the process that created them could still be perfected, WX refused to give up, continuing their experiments in secret. When Wagstaff finally discovered what they had been doing, there was a heated argument and a bunch of binary code that translates into "it's too late" over and over. So now we go into the animated short. After Winona plugs the empathy module into WX, we get a flashback sequence. We get the scene of a robotic rat that's panicking, followed by an entry on a notepad saying it was displaying erratic behavior. And the conclusion of whoever's perspective this was is that the organic components might be to blame. We're then presented with the schematic of WX, with there being a big emphasis on a mechanic that looks like a heart. Intent is the empathy module. After that, we're presented with this little machine here, and our perspective goes to Wagstaff, who's adjusting their glasses and is in front of a big old switch. We see the body of WX, the person then equips the helmet on them, and Wagstaff presumably hits the switch. The perspective changes to where we're looking at the ceiling, and then we see the feet of WX. The person whose perspective we've been looking at this whole time has now uploaded themselves to the WX-78 mechanical body. But there's something wrong with the experiment. When WX looks at themselves in the mirror, a human shape is in place of WX, probably their former human self. As WX is doing some work, their robot arm starts to look like a human's, with it panning to Wagstaff who has a confused look on his face. We get this scene of WX wiping off the heart module from the whiteboard, and they throw into the trash a bunch of other schematics. If we take a closer look at the schematic, we can further see what the experiment was about. We see two human beings, a piece of lightning, the heart module, the machine we saw earlier, and the WX-78 schematic. In essence, it's just what we saw earlier. We then get 3 very quick frames of other robot bodies, then followed by Wagstaff and WX having a fight in a room full of other WX-78 bodies. It seems this is the part of the compendium where WX was trying to quote-unquote perfect itself. WX throws an empathy module at Wagstaff, symbolizing the rejection of what's keeping WX human. Wagstaff, with a pissed off look, then proceeds to burn all the robots that WX had made. We're then left with WX dropping into the constant via the portal, with Wagstaff looking on. The backflash sequence ends, and WX rips out the empathy module and destroys it. Now why would they do all of this? Well, if we take a look at the background in this frame, we see a lot of mechanical components. If you take a closer look, they look oddly familiar. It looks just like the portal we saw in Winona's short. As for who this other person is, well, we don't know for sure, but I will say this. They do look a lot like Wagstaff while looking a little different. Maybe Wagstaff had a brother, but there's no clear answer. By the way, whenever Clay does these type of film reel transitions, they typically like to hide a lot of the letters and clues within the film reels themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if this short had a puzzle hidden within it.